Hi, my name is Frank Schaefer. I am a writer of novels and nonfiction works, including my memoir, Crazy for God, which is used by a lot of folks in a lot of schools to help teach the history of the evangelical movement in the United States in the 20th century, how it took over the Republican Party. Why? Because my family, the Schaefer family, were instrumental in that takeover. We were the people with the movie series and book, Whatever Happened to the Human Race, written by my dad, the film series directed and produced by me, that really crashed the consciousness of the anti-abortion movement into the evangelical mind, which, by the way, up till that point, had rejected the idea that somehow evangelicals were supposed to be, quote, pro-life. They thought that was a Catholic issue. Turn the page. That's not what I'm talking about today. Today, I'd like to talk about something else, and that is, I don't think most folks realize that people who grow up in the evangelical white community, the right-wing white nationalist and Christian nationalist movement that are sort of one and the same now, they are groomed from birth to believe lies. It is a knee-jerk fallback position of evangelicals to defensively believe lies. Look, they grow up on Bible stories, which are patently untrue, like the creation story in Genesis. In the more fundamentalist families, they entirely reject the evidence of science on evolution, climate change, the fact that gay men and women are born gay just as much as straight heterosexual men like me are born straight heterosexual, that gender is on a sliding scale when it comes to how we identify. All these things that science shows are true, demonstrably so, are rejected by evangelicals. They reject history. They reject the idea that history is formed by human actions when it comes to human action, including environmental action or wars or other things. And they see a timeline that is fulfilling biblical prophecy, including the election of Donald Trump, that they said was a divinely inspired election brought by God to save America, to make America great again. Translation, make America white and Christian again. This has a huge impact on our culture. When it comes to trying to figure out why the QAnon conspiracy was able to find people, when it comes to the anti-vax movement, or any other loony fringe part of the right wing, and some left wing too, by the way, when it comes to certain libertarian ideas in the evangelical circles that merge with left wing politics in Silicon Valley, sometimes in weird ways that you see with Elon Musk picking up some of these themes. The fact of the matter is, without the training from the cradle to the grave that takes place in evangelical homes, homeschool homes in particular, evangelical high schools and schools and colleges, without this constant reinforcing in the church communities that preach against the world, in other words, a fact-based existence, this group of voters would not have been ready to accept Donald Trump's lies. They would not be cheering on fringe lunatics like Carrie Lake in Arizona, claiming that she was elected and that tens of thousands of votes were fraudulently miscast and manipulated, when all the evidence, including her own party, the Republican Party in Arizona, point in the other direction. So when you stand on the outside, as the secular media does, that never pays enough attention to the threat of the evangelical nationalist, Christian nationalist movement that is made up mostly of white evangelicals with a small group of very conservative Roman Catholics also attached to it, and some secular people who might even describe themselves as atheists, but who are anti-Semitic, for instance, or racist to their core, who latch on because the numbers and the money and the big game is in the evangelical arena, not on the fringes. It's not all about these militias out somewhere in Montana, although that's a big story too. The evangelical voter, the white evangelical voter, has been groomed and conditioned from cradle to grave to believe nonsense, biblical nonsense, that we're on a prophetic arc in history, and that we look around for signs of the end times, whether it's the US Embassy being transferred at evangelicals' request to Donald Trump from Tel Aviv to the capital of Israel as understood by the Jews, which is Jerusalem, or whether it is some other aspect of fulfillment of prophecy. So the point I just want to make today, again, evangelicals are groomed from cradle to grave, and then kept in line through church affiliation with believing a completely alternative vision of life, which makes QAnon and vaccine rejection look tame by comparison. QAnon looks reasonable compared to what evangelicals believe, that Jesus will be coming back at any moment, that he is going to destroy the earth and build a new earth and kill all but 144,000 Jews who didn't believe in him, that we're on this time track to the end. And in this apocalyptic vision, things like the environment or gun laws or massacres or mass shooting in schools just don't matter. In fact, they are welcomed by evangelicals in a kind of awful way as signs of the times. Oh, another mass shooting, another 50, 60, 70 children gunned down in a classroom, a kindergarten blown up, whatever it may be. Oh, troubled times, times of trouble. Pretty soon we're going to look at the moon and it'll turn the color of blood, and that'll be another sign. It's fiction. It's a lie. It is stupid. I'm not saying all the people are stupid, but they become stupid in their views and cannot be reached. And so it is time the secular media and other voters pay attention to the fact that this group of people, white nationalists, evangelical nationalists, white nationalists, and Christian nationalists, Christians, the MAGA crowd loosely described, cannot be redeemed. They can only be outfought. They can only be out-campaigned by candidates. The Democrats need to look for sane candidates that are not too far to the left to turn off the vast majority of voters who are somewhere in the middle, who are not evangelicals, and show them that the choice is a stark and clear one between not two political parties, but a party of absolute lies and fiction, beginning with basic beliefs that are totally, totally outside the context of science and history, all the way up to the present time. Evangelicals are groomed from birth to reject reality. They are very dangerous people to a society that's trying to have a civil society, whether it's everything from gun control, which now they have folded the ownership of high-powered weapons and thousands of rounds of ammunition into what it means to be a Christian man, all the way down the line to climate change, women's rights, the right to healthcare access for women, children, allowed to read books on Black history, whatever it is that you're thinking about, it all relates to the fact there is a bedrock movement in America of Christian nationalists who have been groomed from birth, one last time, to reject reality and instead always look for some mythological or conspiracy-addled theory to explain why their own beliefs are so totally out of whack. Instead of coming back into the center, they go further out. Further out, further out. There will be no end to this. They have to be defeated in every single election, whether it's the library board and the school board or for the president of the United States. Thank you. My name is Frank Schaefer.